It may be January. It may have snow on the ground. But in the South, we start looking at our seeds and planting our spring and summer gardens. Good afternoon, y'all. It's Lippy. And y'all are thinking, what you doing with seeds on January 17th? I got spread, don't I? And some of you probably are like 2 feet in snow. It's 80 degrees here. And I'm preparing. I've got a host of things that I want to grow. Will I grow all of these? I don't know. It depends on how many beds we can get filled starting this weekend. Usually we can make a haul and get 3 beds. We have 15 beds to fill. That's a lot of hauling, y'all. I'm like, oh, sweet baby Jesus. I'd like to pick a phone up and say, hey, dump truck. But I don't know no dump trucks. So, and I imagine it'd be a fortune. So we'll just go and put the little sides up on our trailer, fill our truck up, fill the trailer up, come home, shovel till we get blisters, and it's all good. It's all good. But our last frost date is March the 7th. So in the next week and a half, and of course I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to start off with sowing seeds in my cells, and this is going to be the peppers. Peppers take the longest to germinate. So I will definitely be starting my peppers 7 to 10 days, if not a little sooner. I have to watch my weather. But definitely peppers will be started, as well as a lot of my pollinating plants will be started, because I start in cells. And what's the modern word? I just say repot them. But I think the modern word is up pot. I just repot them, y'all. From the cell to a cup to the garden. It's just simple. So I'm looking at my herbs. I've got to add some more herbs. There is some herbs that I will not plant. That's because I have a little grandchild. He loves to sample the garden. So there is some things that I will not plant. I do actually have outside animals that like to chew. So, you know, you have to figure out what is working best at your home place, you know. So my herbs are going to be planted different this year in new beds. But I'm really going to concentrate on bug deterrent. And that's an awful lot of basil, which y'all have seen my gardens and y'all have asked many times. I've got different varieties. That's mint. Here's a pine tree. I think I've got 6 packs. Is that any burpee? I got a burpee over here. I think I got 6 packs of basil. Now, do I dry and use them all? No, I don't. But as I've said in the past, I use basil as a deterrent. In those beds, you may see me with 3 basil plants to 2 tomato plants. It works for me. You know, it just works. But there is still a few seeds I got to dig out. Like I've got some yellow wax beans that Miss Wanda Deep South gave me. But I can't find them. I've probably set them in that bucket. You saw the picture, so you saw all the binders. But there's a bucket there. And as I get seeds through the fall and winter, I normally just put them in there, and then about this time every year, I will add them to the binder. So this is only yellow wax beans I have, which I will grow these, along with the ones I got from Miss Wanda. And the only new thing I am growing would be the red ripper peas. I had never had them before till I was at Deep South. And I could have just got me a spoon in the pot, you know. They were that good. So they gifted me some seeds. I'm looking forward to that. I've got to talk to them on when to plant it. And then here is a new one from Miss Janet, Not a Real Farm. Now, she's up in Canada. She sent me about 10 packs of seeds. I'm going to try the bush beef steak, okay? Now, a lot of times, seeds that come from outside of our planting zone, guys, they don't acclimate till probably the second year. You can get them to, but the first year is a no-go. So this will be the only, let me look at everything. Yeah, this is the only one that's going to be new to me coming from a different climate. So I'm going to hope that I do well with them, but it gets very hot here. She's got a note here of pollinating and germination and all that. So that's the only thing new that I will be planting. Everything else you see here has been planted and planted over the years. Half of these packs are open from last year. Now, I know when I showed you this spread, you saw two companies, Hoss and Burpee. Because Hoss and Burpee have done us well seed-wise. I'm not promoting them by no means, but I have said it in every garden video that they're tried and they're true to what they say. For instance, the celebration, okay? I've grown these 4 years. I will keep growing these. Now, they do come in all at one time. They're like a determinant. But these have never failed me. Very disease resistant. Now, for canning, you can can. It's going to take you a while. So I normally use these for salsa. They allow me a little bit more liquid. You know, that's just my preference. But I use that as an example. This is not the year that we need to test and tune. Okay? We don't know, excuse me, what this weather's going to do. We also know that there is food crisis happening. New regulations coming into the farming and so forth. So when I say this is not the year to play scientist, it's not. For example, I have enough room to try this. That's it. But I'm not looking in all of these catalogs at these pretty pictures or watching other YouTubers that may live in Alabama and you live in Utah. And I'm going to use cucamelon. Let's just use that. Oh, they're growing cucamelon. I want to do that. If you have the space and you have the funds, definitely go for it. But something tells me my friends and my subscribers is kind of like the average Joe. If you don't have all your seeds and you're having to replenish from last year, replenish with what you are familiar with. Replenish something that you have grown and it's been successful for you. We can't play chemist, guys, not this year, unless you have space and funds. For instance, I saw that now they're starting to promote again, many companies, these grow domes. They got the grow light, they got the cell tray, you got the water reservoir. They $200-300. And I rub my head and I think, you young gardeners, if you got the funds, great. But you don't need that to grow a tomato. You don't need that to grow a zucchini. You don't need that to grow some zinnias, okay? But what could you do with that $200 or $300? Say you had a garden failure, a storm come in. I already know it happened to me 2 years in a row. Oh, and this year. So 3 years in the last 4 years, a storm took my garden out. Now, if I would have, say, went out and bought one of those $200-300 grow station things, and the storm come and whoop, there went my garden. That $300 could have allowed me to go down to the farmer's market or my local farmer farm stand. I could have bought a lot of food for $300 and then come home and put it up. The only difference is you didn't grow it. Now, is it organic? I can't tell you that. You would have to ask them. If you know them, they'll tell you the truth. If you don't know them, it's a crapshoot. But I'd rather have food going in my freezer than to look at this $300 piece of equipment because I saw it in a catalog or something and go, well, it might have germinated them, but I still lost my garden and I'm broke too. And that's the point I'm trying to get at. These catalogs are just coming in the mail. I know, I'm getting them all the time. And I look at them drinking coffee. But I can tell you I hadn't ordered not one thing out of those. Because I do have a surplus of seeds. These are seeds that I saved from last year, my Nata Pinos. But I do have a backup. I have a burpee. So if mine don't germinate, hopefully the burpee will. But I didn't order one thing out of the catalog. Like I said, the only thing I am testing is what Miss Janet, Not a Real Farm, gifted me. Everything else I have grown except the Red Ripper. So I'm kind of lying. This will be my first. But I have room for this. But I didn't go buy this. This was gifted to me. This is just not the year, guys. Because so-and-so you saw on a social media platform or that whoever took that photograph and that beautiful seed catalog. If you order by pretty or by seeing something, you calculate that ticket. $40, $50, $60 on the minimum. See what you already have in stock. See what that needs to be replenished. Replenish that. Replenish what you already know you can grow. And don't get fancy. There's no need for it. I'm using the same seed trays I've had since 2012, and I got those for $1 a piece, clearanced. I'm using the same heat mats since 2012 because that's when we went to heat mats. Before, y'all, you're going to laugh, but it was towels and it was heat pads. It's the extra long heat pad. And I would, in the morning, I'd start on this end and I'd slide it to the other end for a couple hours. And I rotated because I only had 2 little shelves that I grew on. That's all we needed for our garden. And it worked. But in 2012, I moved up in the world and I got some heat pads. Now, I've moved up and I got a 4-foot. So now it's 1 heat pad, 1 plug, 1 table, my lights that we already have, and hey, I'm off to the races. And that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Just take a breath, get a cup of coffee, because we're all guilty of it. Just don't take that leap unless it's something you can financially afford to take a loss on. And that's basically what it is. Now, I could take a loss on all of this, but this has been previously purchased or gifted over the last 4 years. So, you know, let's get to growing. Let's be smart about it. Use things that you have around the house. My pots, as we call I still can't get that word right. Up pot. Let Lippy say that 3 times. Up pot. See, it ain't coming out my mouth. It ain't. But I have used the same cups since 2017, 2016. And I wash them, and they have a magic marker, and I scrub it off. And I do right back what it is. So how many years is that now? 4, 3, 7 years. 7 years. I don't see me having to replace them. So it's exciting. Just don't break the bank. You know, just don't break the bank is what I'm trying to get to. But some of you asked about my planner. There was a young lady that watched one of my first videos, 2019. I think it was 2019, where I showed my binder, how I plan and keep up a journal. And yes, I didn't know how to do videos that well. Well, I don't know how to do videos that well now. But anyhow, this is a better time because I don't have my phone sitting up on some bricks or a Clorox bottle. I'm actually in a stand, so I think I can get through this. But this is the same binder that I've always had. This is the years that I took back from previous that I'm fixing to show you how I write them. And this is just my guide for the Louisiana Ag. That is my growing guide. And someone gave me this Clyde's garden planner years ago. I don't know how to use it. It don't make sense. But I do have it. Maybe one day I'll learn it. But the Louisiana Ag, it never fails me. So, I always keep some pens and paper in here. I'll tell you what, I'm going to move the camera down so you can really see it. Okay, here we go. And I will zoom in too. I know my head's cut off probably. But here you go. And I'm going to get my glasses on. I use the ledger paper. Now, normally, let's see, this is a 4-row. These are a 6-row. So, I've had to change it up. I couldn't find 6 rows last year when I replaced my book. But, for instance, today I will be planting my onions that I'd got from Dixondale. They came in 2 weeks ago. They actually came in 10 days before they were supposed to. But, you know, they came in. I've got to get them planted. And I will do a video of how I'm planting them. And it may post tomorrow. So that's the first thing that you're going to see in my ledger. And that's DD. That stands for Dixondale. Then you're going to see down here a burpee. Then you're going to see a Hoss tool. I put the initials. Now there's one that says own. That's my own seeds, which would be the Nata Pinos. So I've got that. So I always list an abbreviation, the company, what it is that I am planting. This says seed tray start. That's where I'm going to add my date. This says germination date. This is where I graduate to a pot. And this one is transfer to the garden. Very simple. But I can look back and I can tell which did better than the other by doing this. Now this says January to February of 2023. I have my last frost date of March 7th. My first frost date, November 16th. So I will fill this in according to, for instance, we're doing peppers. They take the longest, okay, peppers. So, of course, I'm going to start with the peppers. Some of these herbs take the longest, so then I'll move to herbs. So as I'm seed planting in the sales, that's how I'm going to list. And then I always end up with a backside because that's where my okra, melons, your later spring will go. Okay, this is early because I pretty well know when I need to plant what. Now, some things I will direct sow, but there is a lot that I won't direct sow. And we'll get more into the direct sow as that time comes. So right now, it's just me going through, figuring out what I can plant, hoping we have enough room for what is sitting here. And if not, they'll just go back into the binder and we wait for next year to add more. But I won't break the bank to get that whole garden planted. I will hold back some funds So I have a backup to the farmer that we use. You'll never see me plant purple hull peas. I won't plant much okra. I can get my peas, I can get my okra, I can get my corn, nickel on a dollar. Now, are they top shelf? No. They may have a little blemish like the corn, but the price that I get this for, I can't grow, guys. I just can't. And we've used the same company 22 years. Now, we do have to drive an hour away. There's a local farmer we've been using for, I think, 10 years. Because my mother-in-law found him. I'm trying to think. That's been 10, 11 years. So we do have outsource. So there's a lot of things I won't grow. I don't need to for the price that I can get it for. Now that may change this year, and I may not be able to get anything, and then I'll have to rethink. But what I'm not going to be growing, I still have plenty in the freezer or in jars that I have canned and put up. There again, I have a backup. And that's really what the base of this video is about. Have a backup plan. Don't jump and buy the prettiest fruit, vegetable that you see in a picture unless you have the money and you have the space to allow to play chemist, to play scientist. I'm going to do these in a bucket. I'm not going to put this in my garden beds. This will be grown in a 5-gallon bucket. That way, I'm not taking up space that I really need for what I know will grow in my area and what I have grown years past. So, a lot to pick from. I pray that I get all of this planted. Would that not be amazing? But it falls to, can we get the beds filled? And can we get the rest of the 12 beds built? Yeah. And I thought I could help in that, but no, I was fired when I said, can I help? So, squash that. I'll just sit and watch. Be the person that handed to. Here's a screw. Here's a screw. Y'all, I want to get in that sauce so bad and cut, but yep, I was told I couldn't. So, if I can find the key to that brown shed out there, watch out. If he watches this video, I'm in so much trouble. But y'all, here it is. I hope you take what I said to the heart. This comes from a place of love. But I'm guilty. I'm guilty of what I have said in past, years and years past. And it didn't take me but a year to learn, hey, it's not that time. And then the following year, I had space and I had a little extra money to try something new. But 2023 is not the year for us to try something new. It's the year to plant what we know works so we can feed our family. This is going to be a tough year, guys. But we all going to make it as long as we do it together. So, as always, stay safe, stay well, and God bless, and look for that onion video tomorrow. I don't have but 75 to plant, and actually I got them sitting in some water because I know that they're dormant. That's just how they are. But they a little too dormant. They a little dry, like they almost powder house. So I got them soaking in some water so they can perk up for me to go place them in their home. And we pray for the best. See y'all tomorrow.